Goblet of the Truth Index by Dr. Pleune, drpleune @gmail.com.
Consciousness. Be free of evil, negative, ungood, and ausgeartet thoughts, feelings. Chapter 25. Lines 236, 259.
In order that you can recognize and understand more of truth, it is necessary that you become more consciousness-based. That is to say that you use your consciousness more amply in an evolutive kind and wise, by being free of evil, negative, ungood, and ausgeartet thoughts and feelings. So you yourselves become the truth, and live in the truth. So you are in yourselves permanently irradiated by the light of the truth. To learn the truthly truth, which you alone can find in yourselves, and in the creational laws and recommendations, you do not need to arduously learn a science, and you also do not need to fear erroneous assumptions, because if you recognize the real truth, then the answer to every question becomes obvious to you in the truth itself. Yes, you gain very much more thereby, because the questions and the answers of the truth continuously widen and begin to comprise everything, because you comprehend more and more with your consciousness and live in the truth itself. And understand, you humankind of earth, the truth of all truth is of creational nature and given through the creational laws and recommendations. And in this form, the real truth is the active basic significance of the effective knowledge, which is far from any doubt and any unprovable fiction, that is to say, a belief. Real truth is the concordance of the actual and contradictionless, uncontrovertible knowledge about the reality, which in each form excludes any belief-based, that is to say, fictive imagination. The criterion of the truth is the realization of the truthful being, in which no theoretical values inhere, but solely and exclusively the reality, in which no belief, that is to say, no unprovable fiction finds any place. You humankind of earth, burst all your bonds of the truth unknowledgeness that hold you down, and become finally free in your consciousness, so that you may search consciously for the truth and strive for it. And if you are confronted with hindrances, then face them with joy, because they mean for you that you are on the right way and are treading the way of the truth in yourselves, which is itself the truth and the culmination point, and on which you will find new energy and power. Look at and consider all hindrances on the way of the truth as proof stones, out of which you can learn and resolve your errors, so new cognitions and benefits grow out of them, through which you are in turn able to master any hindrances that arise with ever greater ease. Hindrances on the way of the truth are pushed in front of you, so that you learn to master them, and thereout win knowledge and wisdom, and strengthen your requisite for the rise up to the real truth. There may also be hindrances that arise as the result of a guilt, and that you must resolve through the truth recognition in order to free yourselves from it. Both forms of the hindrances bring you forwards, therefore you may not avoid them. Be rational, and do not speak of tests and strokes of fate that strike you in the life, because these serve your general progress and your consciousness evolution. Nothing happens without reason, so you must also accept fight and affliction if you want to achieve progress and evolution, since this gives you the opportunity to resolve errors and to extinguish transgressions of all kinds. And truly none of you, you humankind of earth, can be released from even a minute speck of dust of a weight of errors and transgressions. Therefore you must work up everything and direct it into the lines of the rightness and of the truth. Consider that the running circle of the becoming and passing is anchored in the creational laws and is absolutely unmovable. So also is the becoming and passing of the errors and the transgressions that you commit, and that are revealed to you through the learning so that you can resolve and extinguish them and light up the darkness in you. And if this were not given so through the creational laws and recommendations, then the smallest deviation therefrom would bring all life to extinguishment and destroy the entire universe, including everything existent. Truly, those amongst you, you humankind of earth, you who have very much to clear up from your life, be it from today or out of the past, you shall not be faint-hearted, just as you also must not be horrified by the redemption of your guilt. Because if you truthfully turn to the truth and are willing to resolve your errors and transgressions, then you can consolingly and joyfully begin with freeing yourselves from the bad, evil, negative, irresponsible, conscienceless, unrighteous and unfair in all things, so that you can therein without worries, and without a bad conscience in honesty, turn to that which is rightful, good and righteous, conscientious, responsible as well as positive and fair. So you have a good conscience. Consider at all times that you can always create an equalization through your energy and its power, and through the honest will and motivated volition, through which other and positive thought forms, and out of them, other and better feelings come to life in your consciousness, which as strong weapons make you capable of fighting victoriously against everything dark in you, and of freeing yourselves from the burden and heaviness of the truth on knowledge. The energy and power of your thoughts and feelings, as well as of your will and volition, is for many of you an unexpected might that attracts all energies and powers of the same kind, like a magnet, and these attracted energies and powers grow ever stronger and unite in turn with similar or equally directed, consciousness-based mights that act backwards and return to the point of origin, and thus in turn strike the sender of the thoughts and feelings. And thus you, who are senders and receivers, will be raised up to the good and the well-being, or you will be cast down and sink ever deeper in your own mud and dirt, depending on how you as originators of the whole determine and bring about everything. Thus it is given that your thoughts and feelings swing out and strike your fellow human beings, as well as that you are also struck by the thoughts and feelings of your fellow human beings. So therefore an interaction is given, as in all things of everything existing in the whole realm of the creation universe. And if you know this constant interaction that is absolutely certain to occur, that is given through all ways in the entire creation realm, and that with absolute certainty unstoppably triggers and unfolds itself again and again, then you can also use it and love it consciously and without fear. And if you comprehend this, then you can use your knowledge to impart many things through your thoughts and feelings to your fellow human beings that you cannot do through your words alone. And truly, it is then also possible for you to be able to co-live the thoughts and feelings of your fellow human beings with them, because it is possible for you to perceive and logically follow their thought and feeling world, which has nothing to do with telepathy, however, but is a factor of empathy, that is to say, of the ability for deep feelings for the others. Through the empathy, the invisible thought and feeling world of your fellow human beings comes to life for you, step by step, and you receive their efficacy with such clarity that it dissolves every doubt in you. Thus you can, without making an error, take in and assess with absolute certainty the inner nature of thoughts and feelings of your next ones and fellow human beings. You, however, you humankind of earth, you must first of all arduously learn these things, because you have refrained from doing so since time immemorial, and have gone wrong ways of the life. You must also learn to receive consciously the strong energetical waves of the restless activity of the creational laws and recommendations that have an effect on you from out of the existence of the creation. And if you pay only a little attention to it in a halfway conscious wise, then you will realize that the creational energies and their powers are very strong streams, which affect in you very much of the positive, the good and the best, as well as vitality and healing from all the unrighteous, inequitable, irresponsible, and conscienceless, as well as from truth on knowledge, if you only use them consciously and willingly. Truly, you are able through your thoughts and feelings and through your firm will to use the creational energy and power streams consciously, if you really want to. But you shall use the neutral creational energies and powers only for good and positive purposes, not however for evil and negative ones, so that you bring prosperousness to yourselves and to your humankind of earth, and not lead them into depravity. You shall with the creational and your own consciousness, based and physical energies and powers, do works of the good and the best, for the relative absolute fulfillment of your consciousness evolution. You shall not however light a blazing fire of the depravity that perverts your true inner nature into hatred, jealousy and war, into envy and stinginess, as well as into unpeace, unfreedom, disharmony, crime, and into all possible terrible things, as you have done entirely since time immemorial, wherethrough you have brought death, depravity, and destruction upon your humankind and world, and also still today call forth everything within the same frame. If you do kindle a blazing fire, then it shall be a fire of the knowledge, of the wisdom, and of the truth in yourselves, a fire of the joy and of the love, of the fairness, responsibility, of the conscientiousness and righteousness, through which there will finally be true peace and also true freedom, harmony and equality in you and amongst you all, you humankind of earth. And to achieve all these high values, it only requires the energy and power of your volition, through which you yourselves are the master of your life and hold the determination of your foreordination in your hands. Truly, your own energy and power of your consciousness, of your thoughts and feelings, and of your own volition, brings you into the highest heights, to the progress and to the consciousness evolution, to the true love, to the inner and outer peace, as well as to the freedom and harmony. Therefore you create your reward and your punishment yourselves with inexorable certainty, depending on what thoughts and feelings you always nourish, and what you complete with your works and deeds. Be conscious that this knowledge leads you to the real truth and does not weaken your life, but rather strengthens it and builds it up. The cognizance about the creational laws and recommendations and their modes of functioning can be used by you at any time, through which the life and all things of the existence and the entirety of the creational appear far more sublime to you than before. If you have ever perceived this sublimity at all, in which edifying greatness is given, and if you recognize the great sublimity of the creation, its laws and recommendations and their truth of all truth, then you humankind of earth, can no longer want any evil, because you then reach for the true love, the best support that exists for you ever, the miraculous creation itself with all its created creations, its works, everything existent, is the love itself, and you shall follow suit, and you shall also love your next ones, your fellow human beings, and your whole humankind, in order to also bring the truth to all of them, so that they also may find the true love, the peace, the freedom, and the harmony in themselves, and in turn pass them on outwardly. If you search for cognition and for the effective truth, then do not entangle yourselves in confused thoughts and feelings, as well as not in the irrational teachings of the garden of the irrational belief, in which the rotten fruit of the gods, tin gods, and idolized human beings invented through people of your kind pollute everything. Do not let yourselves be deceived through priests of belief and the like, who worship godheads and tin gods, as you shall also not fall prey to the deception with regard to idolized human beings. Do not let yourselves be made irrational through the God-worshippers, and do not assume that through an eternal law, an atonement coercion lies upon you that you cannot push from you nor transfer to someone else. Because truthfully, there is no such atonement coercion through an original sin or the like, because all such things only correspond to a senseless invention of people of your kind, you humankind of earth. Truth is that there is no coercion for atonement, because everything that you load onto yourselves, you hold against yourselves. Therefore you also in yourselves must stand up for it and give account for it. And indeed for all your thoughts and feelings, and for your words. You are accountable only to yourselves for the thoughts and feelings you nourish and cherish, and the false and evil words you speak or write. But you can also be accountable externally. If you do wrong deeds and works that bring disadvantage to others in any wise, through which you stand in their debt, and you will be called to account by them or by the jurisdiction. However, you must never make atonement to a godhead or a tin god, because all of them are only fantastical inventions through people of your kind, in which no energy and power is inherent, and which in their insubstantiality and non-existence are not able to even change the color of a single hair on your head.